Welcome to the circular flow model video for economics. What we're going to look at today is the circular flow model. And again, like last time, there'll be a short quiz at the end to assure that you've been paying attention. So if you need to take notes to draw the model out or pause just to make sure you can collect your thoughts, please feel free to do so at any time. To review, what we've looked at so far are resources. Resources play an important role in the circular flow model. So I just want to review with you guys one more time about the different types of resources. The first type of resource that we have is our natural resource, and that's anything from the land, including the land itself. If I build a factory and it's not floating, I'm using a natural resource, and that land is that natural resource. Human resources are any and all human effort put into a product's either production or distribution. So if I drive a product from one spot to another, I have put human resource into that product. Finally, capital resource, the resource that we seem to be the most confused about. Capital resource is any man-made item used to help production or distribution. So if we get a bunch of items from China, they don't float, they don't walk themselves, they come on a boat, or they come by rail, or they come by airplane. Putting those man-made objects into that production. So if I run a company that needs to ship things from a different country over a large body of water, I probably have a capital resource that is either a boat or a plane. My factory is probably a capital resource. The machines in my factory are capital resources. We've also taken the time to explore the different types of resources that go into a basic everyday product that we use, whether it be our phone, our earbuds, whatever it might be. We've used that and we've explored that, so we know those different types of resources and how they affect those products. The circular flow model is a basic model in economics that describes how money and products flow through our economy. It basically lays out how the economy works. It goes from a product, natural resources being dug out of the ground, to our household consuming it. Take Coke, for example. We already looked a little bit at Coke, but we know that Coke has some natural things in it. We know that Coke has some human resource in it. And we know that Coke has some capital resource put into it. Well, now we have to look at beyond just the resources and think, well, how does the Coke get from the Coke place to the supermarket where I can purchase it? Or how do they get Coke to McDonald's so that I can drink it? How do I get Coke in my fridge so if I wake up I can grab a Coke? The circular flow model helps lay out all of the answers to those questions. Here's a very basic circular flow model. As you guys can see, there are two blue boxes. Those blue boxes represent the two largest players in the circular flow model and in our economy as a whole. We have the household on the left-hand side and the firm on the right-hand side. A household basically spends its money on things that the firm has produced. So when we look at the top half, we see the money going to the firm. In exchange for the money, the household is getting goods and services. That's the top half of the basic circular flow model. If we can get that down, we're going to be golden on getting the rest of this down. The bottom half is much the same. Right? We start with the household. We see that the household provides the labor for the firms. So we workplaces. We give that human resource of labor to different firms or companies, and in exchange we get money. We then spend that money on those goods and services, and it works like a circle. Now, being a mixed economic system like we are, we cannot forget about the government's role in this. The government does tax both the household on their household income and property tax, and the government also taxes the business on both business and property tax. So the government does play a role in the basic circular flow model. But the circular flow model basically explains how households get the things they want and how households earn the money that they want. And it also explains how firms get the resources and how firms produce the goods and services. An advanced circular flow model is shown here. This advanced circular flow model has two additional steps to it. On the top, we have a product market, and on the bottom, we have a factor market. So take the same ideology that we used in the basic circular flow model, and we're going to apply it now, saying that we don't directly purchase our goods and services from the firm. Nike makes shoes. We don't go to China or Vietnam to get our Nikes. We go to the Nike store, we go to the sporting goods store, we go to Kohl's, we go to different stores to purchase those things. Well, those stores are a product market. So we use our money that we've earned elsewhere, spend it in a product market, and that revenue from the sales that the product market made go back to the firm. So Nike gets money from every pair of shoes that is sold by Foot Locker. We get our shoes at Foot Locker. Basically pretty simple at this point. The factor market is where it gets a little more confusing. Factor think factor is not factory, but think of it as factor of production. So we look at these different factors of production, like the resources. Another way to say factor market is a resource market. So where we go to get our labor, where we go to get our natural resources, where we go to get our capital resources, is all done on the factor market. So basically the household supplies labor and other factors in the factor markets, right? That labor is then used by the firm to produce goods. Those goods are supplied to the product market, which in turn the household purchases those goods from the product market. We just did the outer circle counterclockwise. Well, let's look at the inside. We spend our money on those goods and services. The money from goes back to the firms. The firm pays our wages. And finally, we take those wages home and go out and spend them on things. It's very secular in its model, and it tells us exactly how this does. So coming up next, we're going to be doing a project with this circular flow model as we go forward. And I want you guys to be able to pick out exactly what you guys want to investigate, and we'll do that later this week. Check for understanding. So again, there will be a quiz, but the circular flow model is used as a way to show the flow of products and resources through the economy. Circular flow model demonstrates how firms and households interact in our mixed economy. And finally, the circular flow model will be different in different economic systems. On the last slide, I forgot to point out the government. The government is still taxing us. Don't forget about the government. They will tax us. Finally, go to the quiz. Go take the quiz. It's below the video, embedded on the page that you're on, or if you're on YouTube, go to www.mrmars.com. Economics, Unit 1, last link so far. Hey, thank you for watching.